is Erica Amakuchi, and this is vlog number 1 for IAH 207, section 736. I just want to start off by saying I look a little sweaty and gross because I was at Walt Disney World all day. I am actually in a hotel room right now, so I just wanted to put that out there in case there's any odd noises or anything like that. I'm a biochemistry major in the College of Lyman Briggs. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and something I always carry around with me is my camera because I really like darkroom photography. So today we're going to be discussing the book, The Gentrification of the Mind, Witness to Lost Imagination by Sarah Schulman. So I want to start out today by talking about the introduction, because the introduction really pulled me into this story, because I think that all in all her target audience is not only just the general population to educate them on the issue, but I also think she really wants to reach out to the younger generation of LGBT people and kind of talk to them about kind of what happened in the past and make sure they're educated about it. So early on in the book, page 7, Schulman describes at one of the ACT UP meetings this clear wall, this clear disconnect between the young and the old. She says, the younger people loved ACT UP, but in some fundamental way, they couldn't relate to it. They had never been that oppressed. And this quote goes on to become a little more descriptive, but I think that's quite interesting because I can kind of relate to that. Because as a young LGBT person in society, yes, I've experienced my own types of oppression, but I have never been afraid that one of my loved ones could have had AIDS or something like that. So it was kind of scary to come out to my parents, but I didn't have the same fears that people many years ago had. And so I think there's definitely a clear disconnect that I've even seen in my own life between the old and the young, and I really like how Schulman unpacks that as she goes along. And later in the story, she actually goes through, when she brings up gentrification in chapter 2, she talks about not only her own personal experiences with how she saw her very own town undergo gentrification, but also just the broader scope of things in the media, and how she mentioned how the government wasn't helping in the whole situation. So I really like how she gives her own specific examples, not only just broader things about the media and society, but she also talks about her own specific examples in her own life, which really helps secure her argument. Although I haven't exactly pinpointed what Schulman's thesis is yet, or what I believe it to be, I am starting to form some thoughts about it. Perhaps it's about how the gentrification of America has impacted the story of LGBT people and the story of AIDS in the long run, is kind of where I'm going with my thoughts on that. As she goes into chapter 2, she kind of unpacks that more, and we'll get into that in the next vlog. I just wanted to add as an additional note, so as I was reading the book, probably about up until page 40, I actually thought that the writer was a male until, I can't remember what exactly was said, but I realized that the author was female. That just goes to show that many of the effects that are being talked about earlier in the novel, about such that, oh, the Black and Latino women didn't even know that, even though they were part of the activism group, they didn't even know that at one point women were refused care. They weren't even allowed care for their AIDS. And I think that's really important to include women's side of the story in this, and that I didn't even realize that a woman wrote this book. So I just kind of wanted to point that out there as a side note. Stay tuned, because in vlog number 2 that comes out on Thursday, we're going to be discussing the viewing assignment, and we're also going to be discussing more of the novel, so stay tuned.